Rangers find themselves at a moment that quietly feels decisive, not because of anything unfolding on the pitch in front of packed stands, but because of what is happening behind closed doors at Auchenhowie and Ibrox. The club is once again being reminded that success is not only about results on match day, but about timing, planning, and conviction when it comes to protecting talent developed in-house. As the transfer market begins to stir and eyes from across the border turn north, Rangers are preparing for conversations that could shape the next few seasons. At the center of this growing attention is Ryden Maguire, a goalkeeper whose rise through the academy has been steady, disciplined, and increasingly difficult for others to ignore. Still in his teens, Maguire has reached the point where promise turns into genuine expectation. His contract situation adds urgency to every discussion, with the final stretch of his current deal approaching and interest from England becoming more concrete. Rangers know that this is the phase where hesitation can be costly, both financially and in sporting terms. Maguire's performances at under-19 level have been impossible to overlook. Week after week, he has shown composure well beyond his years, commanding his area with confidence and displaying sharp instincts that have marked him out as one of the most exciting young goalkeepers in the system. His involvement around the first team setup has further accelerated his development, exposing him to the demands and standards required at senior level. Those experiences have not gone unnoticed by scouts who regularly track emerging talent north of the border. Interest in the young goalkeeper is not a recent phenomenon. English clubs have been tracking his progress for some time, aware that Scotland continues to produce players capable of adapting quickly to the pace and intensity of the Premier League. Rangers previously made their stance clear when approaches came in, determined to protect an asset they believe could have a long future in blue. However, circumstances evolve, and with contract talks looming, the balance of power becomes more delicate. The reality is straightforward but unforgiving. If Maguire were to see out his deal and leave at the end of it, Rangers would receive little in return for years of development and investment. That scenario is one the club is keen to avoid, especially at a time when the academy is being positioned as a vital pillar of the club's long-term strategy. Discussions are expected to intensify, with Rangers looking to present a clear vision that convinces the goalkeeper his ambitions can be fulfilled at Ibrox. Recent matches at youth level have only heightened the spotlight. Maguire captaining the under-19s against Hearts was more than a symbolic gesture. It reflected the trust placed in him by the coaching staff and reinforced his status among his peers. The presence of scouts in the stands underlined how closely his situation is being monitored, with several clubs keen to understand how Rangers intend to proceed. Competition for his signature is growing. Clubs with reputations for developing young players have been keeping a close watch, impressed not only by Maguire's shot stopping, but by his distribution and decision-making under pressure. Rangers are well aware that once multiple parties become involved, the challenge shifts from simply retaining a player to persuading him that staying represents progression rather than stagnation. From Maguire's perspective, the decision is deeply personal. Having grown up supporting the club, the emotional connection to Rangers is real. That loyalty, however, must be matched by a pathway that feels tangible. Young players at this stage want clarity. They want to see how minutes will be earned, how competition will be managed, and whether opportunities will genuinely arise rather than remain theoretical. The senior goalkeeping situation adds another layer of complexity. With contracts nearing their end and others entering decisive phases, the landscape could change quickly. For a young goalkeeper, assessing his options, those details matter. They can signal whether patience will be rewarded or whether progress might come quicker elsewhere. Rangers understand that context and know that reassurance alone will not be enough without concrete plans. What strengthens the club's hand is a broader commitment to youth that has been increasingly visible. Recent debuts and trust shown in academy graduates have sent a message through the system. Young players are watching closely, seeing that opportunities are not reserved exclusively for established names. That belief is crucial not just for Maguire, but for the next wave coming through the ranks. Inside the academy, there is a sense that moments like these define credibility. When a promising player reaches this crossroads, how the club responds echoes far beyond a single contract negotiation. It shapes perception, confidence, and the willingness of families and players to fully buy into the pathway being offered. Rangers are conscious that protecting their academy assets is not just about resisting bids, but about building trust. As talks approach, the pressure is not only on the player to choose his future, but on Rangers to articulate theirs. English interest will not fade, and summer will bring renewed momentum across the market. The decisions made now could determine whether Maguire becomes another success story developed and trusted at Ibrox, or another example of potential realized elsewhere. The situation serves as a reminder that modern football rarely waits. Talent develops quickly, markets move faster, and clubs must act decisively when opportunity and risk collide. For Rangers, this is not simply about one goalkeeper, but about reinforcing an identity that values development, rewards patience, and competes intelligently in an increasingly aggressive transfer landscape. Elsewhere at Ibrox, attention has also turned to a player whose Rangers journey has yet to follow the script many expected. Ned Bahami arrived in Glasgow, carrying a reputation built on technical quality, intelligence between the lines, and the ability to unlock defenses with subtlety rather than force. There was a sense at the time that Rangers were adding a profile capable of raising the level in tight matches, someone comfortable receiving the ball under pressure and connecting midfield to attack. What has followed, however, has been a frustrating sequence of interrupted momentum and unanswered questions. From the outset, Bahami found adapting to Scottish football more challenging than anticipated. The tempo, physical demands, and constant pressure to perform left little room for gradual adjustment. Opportunities came in flashes rather than sustained runs, making it difficult for him to find rhythm or confidence. He has spoken openly about that struggle in the past, admitting that it is hard to impose yourself when minutes are sporadic and continuity is missing. Those comments reflected a player searching for stability rather than excuses. This season has done little to change that narrative. Injuries have played their part, breaking up any progress just as he seemed close to carving out a more consistent role. Each setback reset the clock, forcing him to rebuild sharpness and trust from the sidelines. When fit, his involvement has often been limited to short appearances, cameos that offer glimpses of quality, but rarely enough time to influence the shape of a match. For a creative midfielder, that lack of sustained involvement can be suffocating. Despite those challenges, the door has not been closed. There remains a belief within the club that Bahami still has something to offer, particularly if he can string together a run of games and regain confidence in his body. The coaching staff are conscious that form and fitness often travel together, and that one extended opportunity can change perception quickly. In a season where margins are tight and depth can become decisive, having options with different skill sets retains value. Speculation around his future has been constant, especially as transfer windows approach. With Rangers mindful of balancing the squad and managing resources, it was natural for his name to surface in discussions about potential departures. Yet as the window progresses, the tone around his situation appears to have softened. Rather than pushing him toward the exit, there is an acceptance that keeping him involved could yet pay dividends if circumstances align. That stance reflects the broader picture of Rangers' campaign. The league remains finely poised, with little separating the top sides and every fixture carrying weight. Injuries, suspensions and fatigue will inevitably test the squad as the season enters its most demanding phase. In that context, discarding a player with technical ability and experience too hastily could prove short-sighted. Rangers know that one strong performance can shift momentum, not just for an individual, but for the group. Around Bahami, movement continues elsewhere in the squad. Incoming additions are edging closer, aimed at strengthening specific areas without unsettling the core. At the same time, Rangers have shown a willingness to stand firm on players they see as essential, resisting interest that would weaken the side at a critical point. That balance between evolution and stability is delicate, particularly mid-season, and every decision feeds into the overall trajectory. There is also a psychological dimension to consider. Players sense when trust is extended, even quietly. For someone like Bahami, who has endured a stop-start spell, knowing that the manager is prepared to be patient can restore belief. Footballers often speak about confidence as the difference between hesitation and instinct. If Rangers can provide an environment where that confidence returns, the rewards may still come. For the manager, these moments test judgment as much as tactics. Managing a squad is not only about selecting the strongest 11, but about keeping the wider group engaged and ready. Choosing not to force an exit can be as strategic as making a bold signing. It signals that performances on the training ground still matter and that redemption remains possible. As the weeks unfold, Bahami's situation will continue to evolve alongside Rangers' broader ambitions. Training sessions, small contributions off the bench and fitness levels will all feed into how his story develops. There is a sense that time is no longer abundant, but it has not yet run out. In football, paths rarely move in straight lines, and late chapters can still redefine earlier struggles. Across the club, from academy discussions to senior squad management, Rangers are navigating a period where choices carry lasting impact. Young talents weighing futures, experienced players fighting for relevance, and decision-makers balancing risk against reward all form part of the same picture. The coming stretch will demand clarity, patience, and conviction, qualities that often determine whether potential is realized or lost along the way. While individual situations continue to draw attention, there is a wider sense that Rangers are moving through a transitional phase that demands careful handling at every level of the club. Results remain important, but so does the ability to read the moment and understand where short-term decisions intersect with long-term identity. This season has already shown that stability cannot be taken for granted, and that progress often depends on how well a squad absorbs pressure away from the spotlight. The league landscape itself adds another layer of intensity, with the table finely balanced and momentum shifting week to week. Rangers know there is little margin for complacency. Every dropped point is magnified. Every strong performance carries extra weight. In that environment, squad harmony and belief become just as valuable as tactical adjustments. Players on the fringes can suddenly find themselves essential, and those battling for minutes must stay mentally prepared. Within the dressing room, competition is healthy but unforgiving. Younger players pushing up from the academy are watching closely, aware that opportunities can emerge unexpectedly. The recent willingness to trust youth has not gone unnoticed, and it creates an undercurrent of ambition throughout the squad. For senior players, that pressure sharpens standards. For those still finding their place, it offers motivation rather than fear. The coaching staff are acutely aware that communication is key during periods like this. Clear messaging around roles, expectations, and development paths helps prevent uncertainty from becoming distraction, whether it involves a teenage prospect assessing his future or an experienced professional trying to re-establish himself. Clarity builds focus. Rangers have been working to ensure that decisions are explained internally, even when outcomes remain uncertain. Off the pitch, the club's approach to recruitment and retention reflects a desire to be proactive rather than reactive. Interest from elsewhere is no longer viewed as an occasional disruption, but as a constant reality. Rangers understand that being prepared for those moments, with clear valuations and strategic priorities, is essential in protecting progress. Letting situations drift can quickly turn opportunity into regret. And before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. The noise around Ibrox has grown louder after a pointed comment from former striker and pundit Chris Sutton, who has once again lobbed a verbal grenade into Glasgow's never-ending football war. Sutton has been heard suggesting that the Rangers side under Danny Röhl is the weakest version he claims to have seen in 2 decades, a remark that has travelled fast through pubs, phone-ins and dressing rooms alike. Whether it is provocation, mind games, or genuine belief is open to debate, but it has certainly stirred the pot. Around the city, there is a growing sense of speculation that something is not quite right at Rangers. Röhl arrived with a reputation for modern ideas, intensity, and structure, yet whispers persist that the squad has struggled to fully absorb his demands. Some close to the club hint at confusion on the park. Others talk of a lack of leaders in key moments. Sutton's claim taps into those murmurs, amplifying doubts that were already quietly circulating among supporters. What makes the comment more explosive is the inevitable comparison with Celtic. Sutton, never shy of backing the Parkhead side, has reportedly gone as far as predicting that the title race could be over far earlier than many expect. In Glasgow football culture, such a suggestion is not just analysis, it is a challenge. Celtic fans have greeted the talk with a mix of confidence and caution, aware that momentum can swing quickly, but also sensing vulnerability across the city. Inside Rangers circles, the reaction has been more defensive. There is a belief that Sutton's words are designed to apply pressure rather than reflect reality. Some insiders suggest the squad is still adapting, that performances are a work in progress rather than a finished product. Yet even they admit that perception matters in this city, and once a narrative takes hold, it can be hard to shake. For now, Sutton's provocation remains just that, talk. But in Scottish football, rumours have a habit of shaping the conversation as much as events on the pitch. Whether this becomes fuel for a response or a sign of deeper trouble is something only time will reveal. But one thing is certain, the old rivalry is very much alive and the noise is only getting louder. Greetings! Fans, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned!